Willow Creek Springs presents Healthy Living with your host, Joe Grumbine.
Well, hello, and welcome back to the Healthy Living Podcast. I'm your host, Joe Grumbine, and today we've got a very special guest. His name's Derek Krager, and Derek is the founder and CEO of Practical AI and creator of Pocket Mentor, author of Human First AI. He's a visionary tech founder and AI thought leader, and he bridges the cutting-edge innovation with human-centric purpose. He built Amazon's highest-rated employee training program in company history and created the Pocket Mentor, first voice-based AI mentor for in-ear, hands-free, eyes-free, real-time support on the job that magnifies learning 30 times. He's got an upcoming book, Human First AI. Derek is spearheading a timely tribe-building initiative to keep technology human-centered. And, Derek, without jumping too further into it, this is very interesting, and I'm looking forward to hearing all about your technology and the work you're doing. Welcome to the show.
Well, thank you, Joe, and thank you to all the listeners here. I'm grateful you brought me on.
Well, and as always, as we get into this conversation, our listeners and myself especially, we like to hear about, how'd you get here? What brought you to this place that you're at right now?
Yeah, certainly. So I think life, a lot of success in life is about having the right information at the right time. I think I kicked myself in the butt a time or two over my course of my life where it's like, oh, I wish I would have said this, or I wish I would have known that. And
Sure.
Don't want to live with regret. So the pattern of success that I've had in life is that when I've had the knowledge with me, when I needed it is when I was most successful. So where I'm at today, after leaving Amazon with the success that I had there and the training methodologies that I had developed, I leveraged this new thing called AI. You might have heard of it.
Yeah, it seems to be a little bit catching on out there.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm leaning on EI, not to think for the user, but to think with the user,
Okay.
very conversationally. And I really believe that this is the value that AI can bring us. And the way I deliver that is through a voice interface, which means it's no harder than phoning a friend. It's no harder than calling Joe up and saying, "Hey, Joe, you've done this before. Can you talk me through it?" And that's how we get there. So that's what this is all about. It's about being able to give people access to the right information at the right time so they can take control of their own future as they move forward in life.
Nice. And, I've had a number of guests that are working on AI type projects, and they vary from one guy who's working on a doctor's network, and there's all these different, practical uses when you refine this thing. Of course, it's got its limitations, at least today, and it's got its weaknesses, and people are afraid of it in some cases, and there's all kinds of obstacles in our way. Meanwhile, it's marching forward at breakneck pace. And what is your target demographic for this? Who are you looking to build this business around?
Well, I'm glad you used the term practical in AI use. That's coincidentally, that's the name of my company, Practical AI. And everything that we build has a practical mindset. We're not looking for headlines. We're not looking to say, hey, we're the cool kids on the block, because I was never the cool kid on the block. I was just the one kind of left holding the bag and trying to make resolution and solve things. So who are we building this for? So essentially, what I've built is the platform. It's kind of like Gutenberg when the Gutenberg press was invented.
Mm-hmm.
It's a tool, but what's the value of the tool unless you have the information? So at its raw core, Joe, what I've built is an interface that you can plug in any knowledge domain in the world. And it's important that we talk that we're only working on one knowledge domain at a time. It could be for maybe like a a product manager role at Amazon where I worked. Maybe it could be as an electrician at the Ford Motor Company. And we build those out special with that specialized knowledge. But something that's very passionate to me and our team here is what we call Neuro Companion. So it's Pocket Mentor, but this specific chapter is written into helping those that are neurodivergent at work. And there's two sides of this coin. There's the side that, hey, I've always been the weird kid. Let me hit the easy button, call up Pocket Mentor, Neuro Companion, and just bare my heart, which I wouldn't do with another human. I mean,
Right.
really, most people don't. But if I'm talking to a machine and I get back this voice conversational, it sounds human. It's compassionate, it's supportive, and it's patient, and it's available to me 24/7. Well, me onboarding to a new company, and that's the feather in my cap at Amazon, was an onboarding program that helped onboard 35,000 employees in 1 year back in 2021 and beyond. But it's about giving that new hire a friend, or maybe any employee a friend when they need one, 24/7, 365. And it might be, hey, how do I change the toner again? Or it's like, I have an important decision to make. What is the mission or vision statement of the company applied to my role or this decision? And just like you would call up your best friend in the world and say, hey, I just need a soundboard right now.
Right.
That's what Pocket Mentor does. It's a
Tell me what you
soundboard.
think.
So. Yeah, absolutely. So it's on the neurodivergent side, and really, I really fall into this neuroagnostic because at its root, all of us think differently.
Sure.
So there's no two people alike. So we can soundboard as an employee to get us through our day. And on the flip side, how about that manager? We lean hard into managers and supervisors saying how bad they are. They're in the headlines. People don't quit jobs. They quit managers or they quit supervisors. And the big part of it is that those managers and supervisors, they're not prepared properly, because it's impossible to prepare somebody for every circumstance, every perspective of employees and situations. So the flip side of this is that the manager or supervisor can call up Pocket Mentor, Neuro Companion, and say, hey, I've got this guy named Derek. He tells me he's autistic and he's got ADHD, and I'm not really sure what that even is. I heard about these words, but I've been scared to even talk about it. So how do I engage this person? We're coming up on our first one-on-one conversation. How do I follow through? And then just like Joe, just like you would consult me in a conversation, Pocket Mentor Neuro Companion does the same thing to that manager, and it sets them up for success. Is it going to give them all the answers? No, but it's going to put them in the right direction so they have the best chance of succeeding in that conversation.
Interesting. So, most of our listeners, again, we have worldwide listeners with every possible situation you could imagine, from, chronic and terminal diseases all the way to mild, Asperger's, whatever it is that you want to think of. Maybe I got an itch on my nose. Well, that's a health issue, right? And so you've got people that are looking to solve their own problems. You got people that are just in here trying to live longer, biohackers trying to, solve the longevity quiz. Aside from people in the workplace, specifically with the target that you have, how would our listeners look to this and say, oh, wow, I could see myself using this in a practical way beyond, maybe I'm retired, or maybe I have my own business and I don't have employees or whatever. Maybe there's not the thing that it was specifically designed for, but it seems like a pretty handy tool. How would you see that, this community could embrace this technology?
By all means, reach out to me and ask. I'd love to set up pilot programs, and much using, that metaphor of the Gutenberg press. The Gutenberg press, the first year or century or two, right, it put out the Gutenberg Bible. So it was printing one thing. So it's important for my company from a business standpoint to, follow a niche, start there until we
Sure.
dig in deep, and then we expand. We can't be the cure all for everybody,
Right.
but it's like we invented the book, we invented a new technology. So we're looking for this to grow organically in the need. So people that are raising their hands and saying, "Hey, Derek, have you thought about this?" And it's like, you know what? I like that idea. Talk me through it a little bit. And then if there's a use case, then we'll come up and we will create at no cost, a pilot program for the use case. And we will work with you and give you a chance to use it and utilize it. And then if you find value in it, we say, okay, how can we expand this? How can we help your market? How can we help your organization, whether it be
I've got
for
a couple
profit
of
or nonprofit?
examples right off the bat. The first is real simple. I'm a formulator. I make natural products, and certainly, there's so much information out there today in developing formulas that, I use a little AI in my research, but a lot of it is looking at things that work and ingredients and all of that. That would be certainly one application I'd be interested in looking at. But the second is I have a nonprofit um, that's a couple of years old. We're working on securing funding, and we've gotten a couple of little grants, and we have a 2.5 acre botanical garden where we use these gardens for what we call therapeutic horticulture, and developing programs, working with special needs kids and adults, even mental health therapy sessions. I would think that there would be a way to use a tool like this to take an idea into fruition, or to find funding sources, or to find partners, or clients, or resources of any kind. I would think that something like that might be a really interesting and potential use for something like this.
Yeah, absolutely. And you have your brand, and your brand is your perspective on life and what you do. So I was asked earlier today, said, Derek, why Pocket Mentor? Why Neuro Companion? Why this specialized tool if I can just talk to Chat GPT?
Sure.
Well, the difference is that talking to Chat GPT is like talking to I don't know, a billion Legos. They're all in their individual pieces.
Right.
Yeah, it's all there. But what I want to speak, and I want to hear the perspective of the chef, right? That's
Right.
following them. I want to hear the Joe's perspective on how Joe does it, because I like the way Joe does it.
Sure.
And this is where we take that knowledge and we put it in a container, and we make sure that the conversation is curated around your knowledge, nobody else's, just yours, in your flavor, at the pace you give it. I know my mom had, I think I counted one time, 8 different recipes for brownies, but there
Sure.
was only one brownie I really liked, and mine,
Right.
it's got to have walnuts in it. So
Okay.
in this example, it would be like, okay, let's wrap this around how to make the best brownie in the world, like Derek would do it, or like Derek's grandmother did.
Sure.
And I don't want to know 1,000 different ways. I mean, if we
Right.
Googled, I guess that was last year's term, Googling, but today
Right.
we Chat GPT something. Sure,
It's working its way into the lexicon for sure.
it is for sure. Absolutely. So I don't want to know just a recipe for brownies. I want to know the recipe.
Right.
Or I don't want to know, how do I, till a garden? How do I plant? How do I use pesticides, or organic pesticides, or pest control that doesn't use pesticides,
Sure.
and how do I do it Joe's way, or how do I
Sure.
do it Derek's way, or just put your name there. That's where we specialize. We
Okay.
we replicate your way, and we make sure that whoever is talking to your virtual self gets your answers only the way you would deliver them, in that flavor.
Oh, okay. So I'm starting to maybe wrap my head around this a little bit better than what I thought it was doing. So it would basically be almost like the old days. I don't know if you remember way back when voice recognition software was new, and you had this Dragon software where you had to put this headphone on and read to it over and over and over again, and eventually it would start to learn your dialect a little bit better, and it took forever, and it was clunky and slow, and it messed up worse than Siri does today. But it learned your voice patterns and your whatever your choice of words, and it eventually sort of was able to translate what you were saying into a printed word pretty well. Hi, this is Joe Grumbine, and I wanted to share an update. The platform that hosts this podcast has made some changes to the subscriber settings, and we have a number of subscriber-only episodes that we offer to the supporters, and for a minimum of $3 a month, we can get you signed up. And if you're already signed up and you're having some kind of trouble locating these episodes in the other platforms, I would say maybe the best answer is to unsubscribe and then resubscribe. I'm sorry for the hassle. I don't have any way to make a change, but I'm very grateful for all the support. Thank you.
Yeah, that Dragon Dictate. I think I had version 14 of it was my last one. And to be honest, I think it's still sitting on the CD or DVD in my basement, probably unwrapped.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's our fascination with conversations, is that we know that our voice through conversation mode is the quickest way to interact, right? Mm-hmm. You and I right now, we could have this camera on, we could be looking at each other, and we can either talk like we are, and you can hear my words, my tonality, you can see my body language, and you can glean so much from the conversation just outside of the words and how quick they're delivered, versus we could also be here just typing, no audio. Yeah. And it's just a complete different experience. It's sanitized when it goes through key clicks.
There's a real good reason why I do my interviews this way. And it's not just the spoken word over the written word, but it's the eye to eye micro expression, the reading each other's tones. All of that is critical to actually transfer one thought to another effectively. You got to be a really good writer to communicate through written word.
Well, true that. And that's what our software does. And I say software, but it's only software in the sense that there's some ones and zeros that are put together. But the way we do the interface is that you can just pick up your telephone and hit speed dial, or tap your earbud, and you're connected to this authentic human proxy that's every bit as compassionate, or maybe more so than humans are, because humans have anxiety and priorities and limited time per day. But if we could imprint Joe on his best day and give everybody access to that, to the information that you wanted to share, then they're always going to be connecting with Joe on his best day from here to eternity. And that's what we're proposing.
For things like putting together a training or a workshop, or presenting some kind of a program or anything like that, this could be invaluable.
Absolutely. It's a big helper. So anytime that you'd want to soundboard, and sometimes, I just try to soundboard with myself.
Right.
And so just talking through it helps me understand. And if I have somebody.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. 100%. And, I'm a visionary and an innovator, and, I blow people apart with my conversation sometimes. I get excited and start to, go into a passionate delivery of explaining a thought that I have that I see from, a universal perspective, and they're looking at it from the front door, and I'm like trying to take them back to where they can understand it all. And before you know it, you see the eyes glaze over and like, crap, I lost another one, And so, certainly to have a sounding board when you're walking through, to coalesce ideas and to break it down into something that's deliverable where the general population could consume it without, having sensory overload. That sounds, very interesting and enticing. So it sounds like, based on the demographic and the way you've described its practical application, this is available or primarily made available to businesses and executives and um, people that are in an operation where they could use this in multiple units or whatever. Is that the case, or is a single individual have access to this? And if so, how does that work?
Well, our focus right now, and the marketing team tells me, we got to sharpen that spear to focus and articulate our goal, right? Some cool, business terminology, I guess. But so right now our driving focus is enterprise level because they're the ones with the deep pockets, and honestly, they're the ones that we could help the most people in the shortest amount of time.
Okay.
We're looking at a kind of a freemium option on ways to do that. We're kicking around some ideas ourselves. And I know when we get the first one that we're going to turn loose on that would be the Pocket Mentor Neuro Companion, which is just to help people through, sometimes the roughest days in the world. They just need somebody to talk to. And if it's 2 a.m. on a Saturday, their company EAP program isn't available, or their best friend might not be available, and a professional is not going to be available until Monday. So what could we do just to help them through their days? So we're looking at models. So if somebody has some suggestions and ideas, otherwise I would say, come to our website, jump on, click the little newsletter or remind me when button that all websites have today. And as we develop and release to the individual, we'll certainly make you aware of that.
Fantastic. So, this is a product that's still in development. It's, you're working at this and on this. What is the status of your rollout? Like, when would a company or an individual, obviously you got two different things. One is this version for the company, or like you were talking about your target. And then second, you're talking about this pocket version that would be more of an individual tool. What's your rollout looking like, or your projection or your thoughts?
Yeah, the freemium consumer model is still on the roadmap. We haven't launched that at this point, but the enterprise project and product has been launched, we're all we have successful implementations. We're in the process of implementing more and onboarding more companies and organizations. So it's a proven model, and we're happy that it is. And the reason that I'm behind this driving force so much. You mentioned human first AI. I truly believe that we need to put the humans first when AI is involved, because we're at this fork in the road. And to leave Yogi Berra quote aside, we're at this fork in the road where we can either augment humans to be the best humans they've ever been in life, which that would be the mental side of our health, right? To make us as better people, better humans. Or the flip side is, everybody's seen the headlines. AI is replacing workforces, and that's not what we're looking to do. We want to make sure that we're using AI to improve that human, to make them irreplaceable, indispensable. Because if otherwise, we're going to lose that outside the box thinking. And it's the human factor. We've all seen enough sci-fi out there. When we take the human element out of a situation, that we get locked into just rote process and nothing new ever happens. So I really am pushing this human first AI. Let's augment to humans. Sure, improve the production for the company, but make sure that the individuals that are building and creating have more opportunity to build and create, and they have those answers when they need them. Otherwise, we're going to go down a dark path, and that's not going to be good for anybody.
Exactly. We don't want to see that T100 coming down the road for any good reason, right? Well, Derek, as always, this has been a very interesting conversation. I look forward to hearing the future as this thing rolls out, especially for an individual like me to have access to something like this. Um, I always like to give you an opportunity to kind of wrap your thoughts up into a central parting shot for everybody, and then let us know the best way to get a hold of you to learn more. And maybe some of our business owners would be interested in uh, learning more about your enterprise system.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you. So, my thought on AI in general is don't be afraid of AI. You know, it's kind of like the internet. The internet was launched in 1989 publicly, but it really didn't hit the tipping point until 2006. So that was 17 years that of the inevitability. And if all of us would have jumped on that wave in the earliest, we all could have benefited the most. Not
Right.
necessarily implementing it, but at least understanding it. And the same way with AI here, you know, be cautious, ask your questions, you know, probe, make sure that things are being done the right way, but let's not bury our head in the sand. So that's the big part. And as far as what we're doing here, our human first AI augmentation, we're driving this. It's our platform. We want everybody to benefit in every way possible. Our company is Practical AI. I think our domain, you can find us at practicalai.app. That's .app. And you can find my name on LinkedIn, and feel free to reach out and make a connection there. And you mentioned my book that I have come out, Human First
Yeah.
AI. Yeah, everyone here, I'll give you the first chapter for free.
Nice.
Just go to humanfirstai.net. And you can read that first chapter for free and get notified when it gets released on Amazon and other platforms.
Beautiful. Well, Derek, this has been an intriguing conversation. I'm looking forward to learning more. I'd like to welcome our guests back if you've got updates and more information to share in the future. And just want to thank you for being here.
Well, Joe, thank you and your audience so much. It's been my privilege. Appreciate it.
Beautiful. This has been another edition of the Healthy Living Podcast. I'm your host, Joe Grumba, and I want to thank all of our listeners that make this show possible, and we will see you next time. This has been another episode of the Healthy Living Podcast. We produce this show so that people can share their stories, people that have overcome obstacles, people that are undergoing obstacles. We're building a community of health-minded individuals. If you're interested in supporting the show, please leave a review on the platform you're listening to it on. If you're interested in becoming a guest, please send an email to itsjoegrumbine@gmail.com, or you can send a note into the notes section of the podcast. All right. Well, thank you for supporting this show, and we hope you've enjoyed it.